I'm Elliott-Carter.
And I'm Thomas.
And this is the Intellectual Controverse
Podcast. Hey, everybody.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It's me, Ian Elliott-Carter.
Thomas.
And our special guest today, Mr. Demetrius Enis. Is that how you say your last name?
That's it. Long E.
Enis. Long E. Oh, okay. So how many times did you get jokes like that? Obviously your last name rhymes with dinosaur. I mean penis.
Yeah.
Hey, I had it my whole life, so I figured I had to make a comeback.
You had your penis in a lot of people's mouths.
Comeback too.
No, I used to kill them. No. A lot of people try to kill me about it. I remember we was in basic training in the Army, and some guys, we had to put our last names on a sticker on the lockers. A guy came up and put P in front of my last name.
Wow.
We had to take everything out of the barracks outside,
Yeah.
bring it back up.
I bet they hated him.
Man, I'm telling you, we didn't have that problem no more.
Gotta squash it, man. 100%.
Had to kill it every time.
True. Speaking of killing, man, if that's something you're into,
Yeah.
holler at your boy Ryan Singleton at Emerald Coast Realty.
Emerald Postally. No, this is great. No, this is the greatest. I think we should keep this running.
I think
Seriously.
we should too. Every
All right,
time it's just the most
make it
awkward
more
thing for him. It'll give him attention. It definitely will.
I mean, maybe not the right attention.
Exactly.
He's like clientele who's doing one's with the orgy, the other one's like, where can I have the body?
All right. So if you're into murder and killing and, maybe, attempted murder, holler at your boy.
Also
Ryan.
for families too. Again, let's let's bring that back in too. If you have a family, you need a house too. But if you're also a murderer,
Holler at your boy Ryan
Emerald Coastal
Singleton.
Inc.
Emerald Coastal Inc. You guys do it better than I do.
Yeah.
Ryan Singleton, absolutely. So back to the show.
I always love that transition. Let's keep making it weirder. Let's just make it even weirder and weirder every time.
Go make it pop out.
We'll get
Yeah,
Stardust in a
yeah.
minute. Yeah. So, okay. Since I started this podcast, which was back in March, and now it's expanded. You were one of the first people I had in mind because we went to college together.
Yes.
And we were you were the only black person. You know how it is when the black people are the only ones in the building. We kind of we connect like that.
Especially, I think that was like a unorthodox art class.
Yeah, it was
like
very...
So I mean, it wasn't
What
nothing.
do y'all mean unorthodox? Let me hear about this class.
Normally, black people wouldn't probably take that class.
I needed the art credit.
It looked real easy, but we was
It was
thinking it
not.
said art. So I was like, okay, I gotta take art. I gotta take something to fill this slot. So this looks easy. I go in here and draw some stick figures, and no,
it wasn't like
it was
that.
like reading paragraphs. We didn't do nothing.
So this
really
is like
drawing.
the history of art.
Yes, this
Bro,
was
this is exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
Yes.
I was all like, they're gonna give me an A for attempted.
I thought I was just gonna float through this, and then our art teacher, she was on us, Miss Jill.
Yeah,
Miss Jill, she was on us hard. I'm telling you, Miss Jill didn't play. She was cracking the whip.
I went home every day like, boo, I hate this class. Like, this is the worst class. I mean, like a math class.
Yes.
I hate it worse than math.
Him and Miss Jill used to clash. I remember that.
Ooh.
I remember that. They used to clash.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, she told me I was emotional once. I was like, I'm an artist. Artists are emotional. No, we used to class all the time, and I just because this work is dumb. I don't care. Just give me my credit and let me
I like
go.
it. We're like stupid art.
You know what I remember about the whole thing? It's that his demeanor was the same the whole time he would be expressing himself to her. He never changed his demeanor. He would just be like, he never would get loud and nothing, and you would be like, this is sarcasm at its finest right here.
I speak sarcasm fluent.
And she really couldn't get him for disrespect because his tone would be so smooth, and I would be like, that was hella disrespectful, but
You got it,
even
though.
I would be confused. I would be
got it,
like,
though.
was that good or bad? I don't
all
know.
day,
I'm like,
even
he just insulted her.
even
But he
to
wouldn't
this
be like,
day,
"Argh."
even to this day, I
Like,
speak fluent sarcasm. I will say something sarcastic with a straight face. Half the group will get it. The other half will be like, huh? What?
Yeah.
What? Do you really think that? Yes, I do. I'll do it with a straight face.
I'd be very in tune, I'm telling you. I would be sitting there listening. I'd be like, he just got her. It would be so smooth. And I would be wanting to do something like that, but I was like, no, because one time she told me, she said, Demetrius, act your age. I was like,
Before you
she
finish that, how old do you think Demetrius is, by the way?
Okay, hold on. I know a little back history. So I know when he was in Germany in the army. All right, so.
I got this answer wrong, by the way, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to go with 36? 35, 36?
52. Black don't crack.
Are you ready?
40, man.
Oh, for
40.
me, I was like, holy.
52 made it sound better, right? If you ever want to sound good, if you ever look better than what you really are, just tell them you're 10 years older.
I was like,
maybe
Jesus
12. Be like, yeah.
Christ, man.
You're like, wow, you look
your age
good
for a
for
second. I was like,
52.
I was like, man, that's bullshit. Fucking Irish genetics. We're going to fucking look horrible.
Your ratings just went through the roof. Whoa.
Woo! Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like, I knew you were older than what you were. When you said you had a son that was like in high school, and then you had a daughter that was like
My daughter's
graduating.
grown.
Yeah, grown
My
daughter.
daughter has her own place. She has her own
Yeah,
thing.
that's when I was all like, wow, this Negro's not 2 years older than I am.
Yes.
He's a little
40.
bit older.
Yeah.
I joined the military when I was 30. I was really, I was blessed.
Mm-hmm.
My brother, he was already in the military. He was like, you're going to get your life together. And he cracked that whip on me. So, he's my hero. My dad's my hero too. These two fellas, it's the reason is one of the reasons, the big reasons I'm the person I am today, so I had mad respect to them. One thing, I was really ignorant coming up as a kid, and it's really crazy how we get lost and brainwashed because my dad would do stuff with us and I would be like, black people don't do this, and why would you think that, and it's really crazy. So, kudos to my dad.
It's a stupid stereotype.
It's really, and so you have to realize, and I'm glad that I was old enough, that I grew up to realize, that, hey, this is ignorant. The thing is, it's nothing wrong with being stupid. We're not born in this world with wisdom. The only stupid thing is not learning from it and not growing from it.
Right.
That's the only stupid
Yeah.
thing, because nobody's perfect. But if you can learn from it, you good. And that's what I love about living life. You learn something every day,
Charlemagne the God said the know-it-all knows nothing, and I absolutely agree with that.
And they said,
Yeah, you should always be willing to learn something new, no matter how much knowledge you got. You can, experience, book knowledge. It's all, clashes. It's crazy. I learn something from this guy every day. He's a brilliant idiot.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All the time.
I will take that.
but you know what you said? You say you learn something from this guy every day. So that goes to show. They say if you're the smartest guy in the room,
Gotta get out.
get out.
Get out.
Excuse me, guys. I
Get out. Get
I
out.
must leave.
Get out. My girl is working on her master's, and so
Oh, okay.
I'm doing
For
my
what?
career. She teaches for. She likes dealing with kids for deaf and blind kids, so she teaches Florida schools for the deaf and blind.
Okay.
And so it's kind of cool. She helps blind kids see.
Yeah.
She not see, but
right.
have a functional life.
Right.
That's dope. That's really
Do
dope.
you think eventually, though, that we're going to have the technology that will possess people who are blind to actually get sight back again? Because I'm seeing like it's progressing that way. Like seeing people who have been colorblind and then they have these glasses, or people who are nearly close to being blind and then being able with all the laser eye surgery and all that stuff to...
They've already started doing that.
Oh, really? See?
I was wondering, like, what these organ donors, like, do they donate eyes for people to see? That's what, that's...
A lot of it's for research. I believe that it's certain surgeries they can do, like cornea surgery, but to give somebody eyesight back, I do not believe, I don't know, I'm not 100%, but I do not believe that there's anything that can give you your eyesight
What about
back.
stem cells?
Stem cells, I don't really know the depth of that, when it comes to eyes. I had a stem cell transplant, so until you just said that to me, I didn't know that there was any other kind of stem cell. So when you say stem cell to me, I'm thinking in reference to the stem cell transplant I had.
A lot of,
Again, I don't know. These are just ideas.
of course. And what you just said too, like about stem cells, like you just learned something, and
Yes.
you've had some stem cell surgery and all that stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that Planned Parenting goes a lot more than abortion.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, how much percentage is abortion when it comes to Planned Parenting? It's like a small amount. They do so much more than just that.
Yeah.
But they just label it so evil and stuff like that. I get it. It is technically
But
killing
I get
another
pissed
way.
off of that too, because at the same time they will be like, hey, abortions, but as soon as that baby's out, go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you can die in prison. Hey, we're not going
What's
to help
up?
with opportunity.
3%.
3%.
3%.
Their health services.
3% of their health service is abortion. I mean, not many people know that. They just think the whole thing is abortion,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. And I love your point. It's a great point because a lot of people like you've been in the military, so you
Yes.
know stories about people that go overseas and seen some stuff or been through stuff. You might have lost some friends. I don't know, but it's so crazy. Like not many people care about that life when it comes to war.
Or even when they come back.
Or when they come back. Oh yeah, mental health in this country is a
Yeah.
very underrated issue.
Yeah, the VA is horrible.
I think that if you're gonna if you're gonna complain about a problem, you should also be prepared to produce a valid solution.
Right.
And a lot of times people are so quick to come up and complain about the problem.
Oh yeah, what is your
But
solution?
you're not coming with the solution. Okay, if you have a problem with Planned Parenthood, then what do you compromise? So these people are bringing kids into the world that are unplanned, or say for instance this lady got raped and she's not wanting to keep this kid, but she can't have an abortion. If that's the case, you know, what is she gonna do with the kid? So she has the baby, she doesn't want it?
They
Is
would
there a
bring
plan?
up adoption.
Yes, but are you going to make sure that if this kid is brought into this world unplanned, this kid could not have been here, and so you have to see. You want to be optimistic at looking at both sides because it's such a touchy subject. So are you going to pay for the kid's college? I mean, everything should be ready for this kid.
yeah.
I mean, his insurance, everything.
Yeah.
So don't tell somebody they have to bring a kid into this world
When they're not ready.
and then be like, let's just put them on the auction block, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm not saying have abortions. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm saying
You gotta
it's
understand why they think
it's
that.
your choice.
And I think-
try to be optimistic.
And I think us guys too shouldn't be like the ones telling what women should do with their body. That's one of my
Amen.
biggest things.
I
Amen.
agree.
Like us guys should be. I mean, obviously we should have our opinion. Like if we get a girl pregnant and give our opinion of if we want to keep the baby or not. But again, it's not going through our body.
Of course. And I don't know how many percentage of like Congress or the government is white males, of course.
Yeah.
It's a huge percentage.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Mick. But you know, it's like white males are making most of the what the laws.
Yeah.
Not any woman is in charge of this thing that has predominantly for women, and
Yeah.
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
That's just like a white guy leading the civil rights movement. That would be great. I would love and respect it, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, can he speak for a black man?
Right.
You know, I can't speak for a woman. I can't speak for a white man.
Yeah.
I can't speak for a man that's had cancer and been in the military. I can speak for me, Ian Elliott-Carter, that has a 5-year-old kid that still eats his boogers.
Yep.
That's it.
Hey, good time.
Good time.
But
Yeah.
yes, you have to be careful with those subjects like that.
Of course. Well, this is intellectual controversy. and that's what we do. Speaking of a cool platform, have you heard of Stardust?
Stardust.
Not like literal stardust.
No, I haven't. I might have heard of it, but refresh my memory with
Okay,
it.
so Stardust is this app that if you have an Android or an iPhone, that you can download. You could do a minute reviews of TV shows or movies. It's pretty cool. You can share with your friends on all your social media platforms. Me and Mick have it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay,
You
no.
like it?
Yeah, man. And the cool thing about it is because us as humans now, we just need attentions like right then and there. So all these movie reviews are only 1 minute that you can make. So it's very quick to the point. Let me see if I want to see this movie or not. Instead of like a 20-minute, description of this whole movie.
Get it done in 1
Let's get
minute.
done. Yeah. It's like,
So
wanna see
then,
this?
can anybody else see your opinion on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Put
that
out there to all your social media outlets. Yeah.
okay, so
And-
that would give them the to watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a great app, and if you want to download it, add me. Intellectual.
I'm gonna check that out.
Definitely download it, everybody.
Now back to the
I
show.
gotta check that out.
That was a pretty good commercial. You didn't even know you were in it.
No.
That was actually a great commercial.
I'm not gonna say the truth. All right, go ahead. Not while we're filmed.
So today, this morning, there was a shooting in Cali.
Yeah, North
I was just informed
California.
like an hour ago about
Yeah,
this.
man. You know what's crazy is our last podcast we were talking about a shooting, previously and about gun control and all that. Here it goes again, So apparently what happened, I mean, the story's still coming out and I'm not obviously the most knowledgeable to the story, but from what I read about it is a guy picked a couple places to shoot. There's no connection of why. I think there's 4 to 5 people dead, but some of these are kids because they also went into an elementary
Wow.
school and started shooting.
One person?
Yeah, that's what I've read. Now, of course, this is a new story, so
Still
more
developing.
things are
Yeah.
going to come out, whether it's domestic terrorism or if it's not, or whatever it is. Like I said from the previous podcast, everybody wants to live infamously. And I don't know. I didn't read if the guy killed himself or if he got arrested. So if he did kill himself, it was one of those things like, I'm going to kill tons of people and then kill myself, and people are going to know about me, which is just crazy and sick, man.
My problem with that is that I think the media portrays a lot with this. I mean, this is all we see on the news. This is all we see on the media.
Yep.
And now it's like we're feeding into this frenzy and we're making these people famous. I think we should
And-
be.
and review- and like views.
When
Yeah.
it comes to stuff like that, in my opinion, said it shouldn't make the news.
It shouldn't.
If you want to know about it, then read it in the newspaper.
So it should make
I'm
sense.
serious. No, I'm serious. Put it in the newspaper, just not on the video news.
Okay.
Because I don't want it on the television.
I know exactly what you're saying. So you want it not on the television.
Because we should.
When you
have
say it
knowledge
should make
of
the
it.
news, but it should make the newspaper. It kind of
Okay.
made my head spin a little bit. I was
Okay. I think it shouldn't be on the television.
Okay, that
Because
makes
when you
more
put it
sense.
on the television, it's kind of putting that Hollywood effect on
Absolutely.
it. But at the same time, we should be knowledgeable of what's going on in the world.
Right.
So it should drive people to learn how to read. Because you
That's
really
a
want to
good
know what's
point.
going on,
That's
you're
a
going to
good
have to
point.
read about it.
Yeah.
Because do kids normally read the newspaper?
Mm-hmm.
This is what our kids is seeing basically is what's on the television. I'm saying the
Absolutely.
television is poison to me in a way.
Of
And it's
course.
being glorified. In Germany, in Europe, you don't see all
Nope.
of this on the news
No.
covering stuff
We
like
don't
this.
really have much of a yin and yang when it comes to our news. It's always negative, and people are attracted to negative, like we talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
But I really wish it was like half of it. Well, of course, I think we should still talk about it, but I said in the last podcast, I don't even think we should mention the names. Just say, hey, some guy shot up a church. We're not giving you the name. Screw off if you want it. He doesn't deserve the fame. But I think we should. And in other news, a guy found a cure for polio. Something like that. Something beneficial.
But do you think these shootings were happening like back in the 90s as much as this was happening, they just weren't being reported? Or do you think because of how the media works and their sponsors
I think it
and
was.
getting the views and all that, so now they're like,
Well, I definitely think it
Murder
was.
again.
Like you remember every day there was always a police shooting or a police beating or something racial tension with the police.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that was happening in the 90s and 80s and 70s. It's been happening since we've got free.
They made movies about it.
Of course.
But
But it would act like it was a boom the last couple of years, like it was something new.
because the cameras.
And I also believe depends on the location of the shooting.
Okay, that's true.
Because there's been mass killings in Chicago and all these
Oh yeah.
urban places that don't make it to
urban
the
places
media.
don't make them. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just the truth. And the thing is that it's all about location.
Okay, a good point. Good point.
Which is sad, because you have a point. Like you look at what's happening in Iraq or places in Africa or places in the world where hundreds of people are getting killed. Hundreds. But if it was one white person in there, like it was 100 and then one white person, this breaking in,
Yep.
Betty died.
Betty died.
One
John
American.
Smith was murdered by a brown guy.
And I don't think all news is biased.
No,
but I
right,
do
right.
think I think it's very misleading.
Yeah. Well, the
Because-
problem is a lot of people want to be first.
Yes.
And it's not even that they want to tell the great news. They just want to be the first one to put the information out.
Yeah.
Yes. Because when I was in Iraq, my granny, she thought we was getting blowed up every day. I'm
Yeah.
like, Granny, I'm tired. I'm just trying to sleep. We
Yeah.
got so much time. I'm just trying to sleep at least for 2 weeks.
I had a
That
friend-
way I know next month to be here. No, I only have, 6 more months to go and I'll be home. What are you doing? Are you okay? I'm okay, Granny. I'm okay. Well, I seen on the news. Stop watching the news.
Yeah. I had a friend that went to Iraq. He said that he was tired of sand. Like that's all he saw most of the time was just sand.
That was
sand.
it.
Yeah.
That's all you're gonna see. You're not gonna see nothing else but sand. And don't let it be a sandstorm. That sucks.
Oh yeah.
So
Dude told me he didn't even want to go back to the beach when he came out of Panama City. That's how much sand he hated it.
the cool thing, I didn't have to worry about having a cold shower when I was there, because if I missed and all the shower was out, I'll just wait till the middle of the day and the tank will heat up naturally. Then you still have a hot shower. So
Now, is there something with your Army experience that you would like to share that, a lot of people would not know that have never been into the military?
yeah, I feel like, first of all, not everybody going to the military because they're patriotic. It's not that
most
we're
are
not
not.
patriotic,
Yeah,
but I
most
think that's a
majority are
myth. I think that's a myth. And everybody says that they go to the military because everybody has their reasons. Now, I think everybody has different reasons why they go. But you'll get in there sometimes, and it's so funny. You have people in there, man, I didn't have to come to the Army. I just wanted to do, I'm like, everybody came in here for a check.
Yep.
First and foremost.
100%. 100%.
You was at the end of your ropes and you're like, hey, okay, this is my options here. I need to get this check. On a lighter note, I believe that people try to go to the Air Force first because that's the plush, that's like
That's the big check.
The bases are
yeah.
nicer.
Oh,
That's the Hampton side of the military.
Yep.
But the Air Force, they're picky about who they take. So then you start going in that chain.
And then
you
Navy
be like, oh,
second.
yes. You're like, let me see the Navy. And then you be like,
Navy's got some
okay.
nice bases too. And,
Navy won't take me. All right, guess I go to the Army. It's either the Army or the Marines, and the Marines are even picky. So I mean, the Army. I feel like the Army takes anybody. I love the Army, but
It's
I feel
true,
like
though.
it takes anybody.
No, it's
I
true.
feel like the Army would take anybody because we had this guy. He was a Marine. He didn't make it through Hell Week, so he went to the Army. But you can't go from the Army to the Marines.
Yeah, it's like night and day, huh?
Yes. It's kind of crazy. The other thing about the Army too is that everybody also thinks that when you're in the military that you're gonna go over here and you're gonna kill somebody, and everybody that came back from the Army done killed somebody because we went to Iraq. I didn't see no action in Iraq.
Right.
I have no war stories to tell. It was a long year for me. I mean, it
So a
was
lot of
people
those
I was
are-
with that got blowed up, but no, I didn't kill anybody. That's the funny thing. That's the other funny thing. Or you're crazy because you're a vet,
So do you find it disrespectful for Colin Kaepernick to be kneeling?
I don't find it disrespectful. The reason why I don't find it disrespectful because I think that's very contradicting for you to call it disrespectful when you fight for people to have the freedom of speech. So, and if you look at the Constitution and amendments, that's one of the first,
Of course.
and you have the right to protest, and that's a peaceful protest, and he's not rolling in it. How can you call that disrespect when he's kneeling for the flag? He's not wrapped up and wearing it on his butt, and it's not a
or
bikini.
putting it on fire.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and even if you're not putting it on fire, if you really want to get technical with it, you putting that flag, wearing anything that's a flag, like a shirt or
Yeah,
anything,
you have a point. I
even
know where
those
you're going.
girls that wear the bikinis with the
course.
flag on tops and bottoms, that's disrespect.
Of course.
You're sitting on the flag.
You're not
So
supposed to
let's
do
be
that.
technical with
Yeah.
it.
That's it.
I mean, don't be contradicting with it.
Yeah.
Huh?
The rules of the flag.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
So it all depends on who you are.
People just want to be pissed off.
Yes.
I-
So
I've
if you
kinda-
choose to be angry, be angry. Would I kneel for the flag? I have my beliefs on it, but that's not the way I protest. I think a lot of it's bandwagon. I mean, are you really doing it
agree
for?
with that.
Are you doing it for attention, or are you doing it for a genuine reason? My argument with it is, you can't just be a bandwagoner. I wasn't kneeling for the flag, before this, and I feel the same way I feel now. So I'm going to keep going the same way I do. When I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm a very passive person. Most people don't pick up on it, but I'm big on little things. I don't pledge allegiance to any cloth or anything. My allegiance is with God. How can I say I'm a God-fearing man, but I'm pledge allegiance to a material flag? Technically, I still say the Pledge of Allegiance, but when it comes to that part, people don't know. They're not sitting here hearing me. You're saying it in a group. I just don't say that part. But I don't make a big deal. I don't need to let everybody know my business. Obviously, they're going to know now, but I don't care. But I'm just a private person, and I have my beliefs, and if you want to go there with me, I have no problem discussing them with you and sharing them with you. But I'm not here to change anybody's opinion. I'm here to live my life and be at peace, but I'm not going to run from who I am or what I am. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you truthfully.
I'm just glad that you share that as a veteran. I wanted to have a veteran on the show to discuss their opinion. I'm sure there's other veterans that have different opinions than you,
Yes.
but you're the first veteran I've had this conversation with.
Yes, and if people feel that way, like I said, I'm a passive person. I understand, and I understand why they feel that way, and I always try to be, my thing in life and what makes me tick, I always want to know why. Instead of me judging you, if you say that, you're bashing somebody because they're homo, whether they're a lesbian, whether because they're gay, it's nothing wrong, okay? What if you don't know this person's story? So instead of bashing them, ask why. You know, maybe it's not saying that everybody, some people they just choose. This is what they like. This is what they love. Somebody might have had something that happened to them traumatic to make them not like women or men. You don't know. So before you start judging somebody, ask why.
See, and
Ask why.
And that's the progressive part of Americans that I do love, right? When we were talking about the difference of Germany and America before, the one thing that I think you're not going to have people ask why for is a lot of and not to say all the Americans, but a lot of Americans live in ignorance. They love it. I mean, there's people who don't even leave their own city. Like, this is all they know, and this is what they're going to know, and they're going to stay this way. So there's something with people who do not have a hunt for knowledge. Now, I don't know if that is an evolutionary step for some people to seek knowledge, or maybe it's their life. They got to see things at an early age that made them want to, see more stuff. Or if it's just people who just choose to live ignorant. I mean, ignorant is bliss for some people,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's sick. It's sick because, I mean, I get a little bit mad when I'm like, hey man, where have you, are you from here? And they're like, yeah, I'm from here. And I'm like, cool, man. Well, I'm from so-and-so. Oh, that's cool. I've never lived here. Or when I say, hey, I'm going to go to Egypt. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's in Asia. And I'm like, are you really? Like there's just so much like simplistic things that it's like, come on, man. Like let's have a conversation.
Yeah. But. Yeah, it's so boxed in, and open that mind up a little bit.
Yes, if you don't step outside the box, you're never gonna learn. You can't learn just in a box. You just see the same thing. That would get boring.
But I think that's because honestly, I think there's a lot of people who just don't want to.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't make anybody at the end of the day, but it does confuse me. I'm like, why would you not want to step out your road?
Or just even learn.
Yeah.
It's knowledge.
Yeah, well, you're done. You're done with learning. Yeah. That's it. You have a lot more life to go. This is it. This is where you want to end, like right here.
I always want to create different memories because,
of course,
one thing is that materialistic things they come and go, but memory you'll always have.
I'm getting my son's.
Yes, true.
Yeah, like 51st date.
Dementia. Besides those parts.
Well, for Christmas, I'm not even getting my son anything. I'm working to either take him to Disney or Universal. I haven't decided yet. We're gonna go on a trip.
Telling you, man, those lines are horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
So you're going to Orlando?
Yeah, we're probably gonna do something. I'm not going to buy him anything. We're gonna do an experience.
Go to Busch Gardens.
My son.
So much more fun.
You act like my son is 10 feet tall.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
5 years old.
Good point. Totally forgot that.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a fact to check.
Yes. He's 5 years old.
Yeah, he's 5 years old, so he's limited to what he can do. But what my point is, though, I agree with what you're saying. He's going to have experience. A lot of his presents are going to be experiences. I'm not really going to get him in the video games, stuff like that. Maybe because I was deprived of video games as a child. Thanks a lot, Mom. But I appreciate that, though, because I am the adventurous guy I am now because I'm not boxed into video games. No disrespect to anyone that loves video games, but I'd rather go out and travel.
Yeah.
I can't sit still enough to be doing video games. I like moving. I like being active. To me, being active is life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always like moving around and doing stuff.
So we're all three fathers, and you have 2 children, and he has a daughter, and I have a son. So have you heard about Tyrese lately? He's been making some waves.
Yeah.
So you want to give us a recap of what's going on with Tyrese?
Well, I don't know the whole thing.
That.
Yeah, that'd be.
Okay.
I know how the genesis of it started.
Okay.
With The Rock.
Okay. It is a weird story. It's a weird timeline.
Apparently, don't fuck with The Rock.
Yeah, I would. I definitely would.
On that one.
So I'll give you a quick summary. So apparently, the Fast and Furious franchise, which needs to end in my opinion, but whatever,
100%,
we're still
100%.
going. So The Rock is getting a standalone movie, and Tyrese is like, "No, brother, you with the family. Don't do your own thing. Stay with us." And The Rock's not listening. We're like, "You're candy ass. I'll do whatever I want."
Yeah.
So he's having a hissy fit about that, but also he's going through a custody battle with his daughter.
But yet he's like, I've seen that video where he's all crying, and then the next thing he's talking about how much this robe is.
Yeah. So
money.
Get into that.
Yeah.
So he's acting a fool, and he's blaming it on lack of his child. But he's like, I'm going broke, while he's smoking a huge cigar, and in his mansion and having nice cars, and he's crying on camera. He's wilding out, and the whole world's just like, what is wrong with Tyrese? Recently, he wanted to say that he's blaming it on this psych medicine that he's been taking.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I didn't know
Let's
this
see.
part.
I
This is
looked
where
at
I'm-
it, but I didn't hear that. That has to be
So
real.
this happened
recent.
like 2 days ago. He's all like, you know, you see me acting a fool lately. It's because this medicine my therapist told me is. I've been acting crazy. I apologize. I'm not buying it.
You're not?
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
I will buy it.
You will buy it.
The only reason why is because I'm not going to say who, but there's a family member who deals with depression and anxiety and she's tried, you know, she's taken pills her whole life, and you know, you get tolerance from these pills, and so she experiments with a new one, and I mean personally I've seen, you know, someone
I'm
go
not
crazy.
doubting that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure 100% it happens to people.
Right.
Tyrese, I don't believe.
Okay.
That's the point I'm making.
The thing that gets me now, okay, we're talking about Tyrese said he's broke. He's going broke, or he's
Yes.
broke.
Yeah.
His definition of broke is having like $5 million.
Thank you.
So,
His definition of broke and our definition of broke is two different things. I mean, this guy's a Benny Hanna.
when you see that dash next to a couple of numbers, you're broke.
No. I also looked at it, and they said that he gets $15 million for the Fast and the Furious movie.
So it's his lifestyle.
Or $10 million, $10 to $15 million for the movie.
Yeah.
So I think that he's mad at The Rock because since The Rock is making his own movie, that pushed that movie back to 2020.
Oh.
And so he's expecting to get that money. So now he's crying he's broke. Like, I'm broke because The Rock is wanting to make this movie, so that's pushing all back to 2020.
You're taking the money out of my
that's his
daughter's
only
mouth.
income,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm
He's
thinking
a
to
singer.
myself, like,
He's got other movies.
But he possibly could be broke on this, again, playing devil's advocate. Just
Go for it.
because I do know that, what's the percentage? It's like 80-some% of athletes, after they retire, they go completely broke.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're living in a certain lifestyle.
I'm sure it's been hammer time for a couple athletes and directors.
And with
all that.
Tyrese, he's been just living on that Fast and Furious money just over and over. And now that it's going to be a gap for a couple of years, it's now like, oh, shit. And I was
What am I
expecting
gonna
a $15, $20 million check during this time. Man, now I have to, you know, not do that or whatever. So
I want to make fun of him.
he's
for
not
that,
broke,
but I don't.
but broke in his life.
I cannot feel sorry for him
I
and
agree.
sympathize
I agree.
with him.
I agree.
Anytime how many Fast and Furious is they gonna put out?
Shit,
I think they're on
seven?
Okay, how many was Tyrese on?
6 or 7.
Seven.
Since the second movie, right?
How
No,
many?
it's this is the
No,
8th.
except he was in the third, but he was in the
Can you
second.
fact check how many? Because it's between 7 and 8th right now.
Yeah.
Was he in over
He's in at
3?
least 6. He's at least in 6.
He was in at least 6 or 5.
Yeah.
That's what.
Majority of them.
That's
He's the
what.
majority of them. He's not in the first one, in the second, or the third and fourth one, but he's in the rest of them.
That's legitimate enough. He done made enough money. And he said he's getting $10 to $15 million for each movie, and let's say he's done did 6 of them, let's give him at least $10
Well,
million.
Bow Wow was in the third one,
That's $60
still
million.
getting
And let's say after taxes, $60 million, he comes away with $40 mil. Okay.
And that's on just.
If you make $40 million and you still living check to check, your money's not working for you.
Is that
At
investing
40,
it?
do you
I don't
know
know.
the interest on $1 million? I'm not saying you can live your whole life on it because that was back in the 80s, but it's still the interest on $1 million is very sufficient for us to survive on.
Right.
So he had roughly 40 million and he's still living check to check. I can't sympathize
And
with
that's just
that.
the movies. That's not for you.
That's just,
Music.
he's still
Yeah.
singing.
That's
He's a
exactly-
solo artist. He's
he
a
has
group
some,
artist.
some stuff that he sells too. I think
Alright,
like.
He was in 6 Fast and Furious
Knew it.
movies, but
Sadly.
also in the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Two franchises.
So he's the
Oh, he was a baby boy.
Yeah, so he done made over 100 mil, let's say. After
yeah.
taxes, 80 mil. You done made $80 million and you're still living check to check. You could invest 20 million into something so lucrative to where it's at least making you
check how much
$5
he's
million
made
a year.
as a solo artist
Or
as
something.
as
If
a
I spend
singer.
$20 million, I'll invest $20 million into something. I at least want to see
let's get-
$5 million
All
a
you
year.
have to do is put $2 million in a savings account and you're
Oh,
golden.
Exactly.
But that's our lifestyle.
of course.
You know what I mean? Like if when you're hanging out with Dr. Dre,
Oh yeah.
you know the
Dr.
infamous
Dre's
video.
a billionaire, so you know.
He's a
Almost a billionaire. Almost a billionaire. Yeah, almost
So
a
Who
billionaire.
invites you out? If Dr. Dre invites me out, he's paying for shit.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, of
Tyrese,
course, yeah.
Tyrese has fucked his money
The
over.
thing is, if Dr. Dre goes anywhere, this is funny how strange money works. When you get all the money, nobody makes you pay for shit any fucking more.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Like,
you know,
Dr.
that's
Dre.
crazy, right?
The bill's
It's
on us.
hospitality.
You're
But when
right.
you're broke, right, you gotta pay for all this shit.
But they want people to hate.
Really?
No,
Do you
no,
know?
my
You go
item.
to they go
My
to these
stuff.
they go
Yeah.
to these what's these award shows?
Academy
Also
Awards,
have these
yeah.
$10,000 gift bags for you, like.
Yeah.
Let me come. Do y'all have a gift bag for me here, by the way? I was wondering since I showed up.
No.
You got this hat, my brother.
Oh, yeah.
You got the water bottle, yeah. That's how we do it. Well, but to your point, though, you're making a good point. Like, when he's hanging out with people like Dr. Dre and other people, Dr. Dre might walk up to him like, what up, cuz? Check out my yacht. What's your yacht look like? And he's like, oh, well, let me, my yacht's on order right now, and he gets a fancy yacht trying to, it's a dick measurement competition.
It is.
It's an ego
exactly
thing.
what it
It's
is.
an ego thing. I get it. I get what you were saying. When he's around Snoop, Dre, everybody from the West Coast, I get it.
Speaking of Dre and Snoop, sorry to change the topic a little bit. Have y'all heard the new Eminem song?
I have. Have you?
Okay, so it is with it's his album's
with
about to come
Beyonce?
out. Yeah, it's with Beyonce. So I'm thinking, oh shit,
Oh, yeah.
Eminem and Beyonce. This has to be crazy, right?
Tell me it's not.
Well, I'll tell you this way. Lyrically, what he's basically saying is mumble rap and all that has completely, ruined the hip hop that he loved. And he's also self-doubting himself because I think everybody knows him being too technical,
Yeah.
like in the Rap God song and his vocals, I guess.
He's acknowledging a lot of people's criticism
Yeah.
for him. I get it.
Yeah.
I get his message too. That's why I told you. I was like, I know what he's saying. I get it. I did not like his delivery.
No.
And I didn't like the beat.
Well, it's the same type of.
Who made the beat?
I think Rick Rubin, maybe.
Yeah, it was Rick
Yeah,
Rubin.
Rick
You're right,
Rubin,
you're
okay.
right, it was. And Skylar Grey wrote for Beyonce. for the-
Yeah, she's a great songwriter, by the way.
Yeah.
I respect
And
that.
I mean,
Check that
it-
out, definitely.
But it's a weird for this to because this is the song.
This is
the
a
song
single,
to go
yeah.
to the album because the album's gonna be in a couple weeks
Hi,
ago.
my name is The Real Slim Shady. Without Me, what was that? Just Lose It.
Oh, that was horrible.
I like Just Lose It. I didn't like We Made You. I did like I'm Not Afraid. That one gets me going.
I hate that song until I saw it live. Like when I was like with 55,000 people
I
in
get you.
Switzerland, everybody's singing it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
But he's
It's
had
crazy.
some pretty good first singles. That's
Yeah.
my point. That one was not. I thought that one should have been like maybe a bonus track or something.
And this one on Eminem's new album?
This is
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got an album come out this month, maybe next week or the week after. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's next week.
Next week, okay.
And what's crazy is like they have this whole ad to it of this being like some like old person medicine or something.
Yeah.
So they have this whole comedic ad
Yeah.
as his.
Well, it's going with the theme with the relapse and the recovery.
yeah, and it's
all
called
that.
Revival.
Yeah.
Right,
What
right.
get me about music is sometimes like with you, when I see the video, it gives me a new perspective of the song and I might like it.
Yeah.
But sometimes songs grow on me late. Like that one Drake song, Passion Fruit. I was telling my girl the other day when we was hearing it, I like it now. But when it first came out, as soon as I heard that little click, in case somebody say they like it, I don't want to hear anybody, I don't want to have to leave it here for 1 second. I was like, oh shit, that's that song, click, click. And it's really crazy. The song is so old, but all of a sudden, like for this week, that's my jam. I hope nobody judges me, but
Why?
that's my jam. My girl's like, if you play Passion Fruit one more time.
Well, I want to hear your point of view on this question because you are a hip hop artist.
Right.
I've been like that a lot. What he just said, like I would hate something, but then I would love it. I'm not. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, but I'm not.
That's what I was thinking. I blamed
But-
it on the age.
I was talking to my girl the other day. I was like, when Jeezy came out, I didn't like him. I love Jeezy now. Jeezy's a great Southern artist.
Right.
When it came Lil Boozy, I was like, this is one of the worst hip hop artists of all time. I love Lil Boozy now. I like his content. But nowadays, like the mumble shit, I can't be open. I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
I was about to say, yeah, it's through all different times. Like you were saying, I remember listening to Lil Jon. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah, he was another one.
yeah. But here's the thing: all those artists though who did that style, right? Let's say like D4L or any of that
E40
that
or
crunk.
something, yeah.
Well, not E40. E40's kind of
He's different.
He's different because he had his own type of sound.
He
but-
actually was saying something. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He said actual words, and,
Yeah.
and if he didn't,
Or-
it's
or-
kind of
or
like
he'd make his own
He
slang up.
rearranged it, but the word kind of rhymed with the real word.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
figure it out real easy.
But with it now though, currently is those artists are not famous anymore. Lil Boozy, for example, that was like that type of sound. He doesn't have that type of sound anymore. So
Nah.
now people are forgetting him. Same
Yeah.
thing with a lot of the Southern artists. Now you look at this mumble rap stuff. You look at your Lil Yachty's, Lil Perp. They're taking advantage of it right now. But
You
you
ain't gonna hear
honestly
about
think
it,
that
maybe.
sound's going to come? Like,
I don't think so.
I think the next thing it's going to be in some dance type of EDM type of rap music. I think that's the next thing that's going to go to. But one thing that's, like I always say, the one thing that still stays though is real hip hop music.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So a lot of people
We
say
still
hip-hop
talking
is
about
dead.
Nas and Eminem
For
and
some
Jay-Z
reason, it
still.
still stays.
Yeah, we still talking about the
because
gods.
people want to hear talent. They still
Of
want to hear
course.
lyrics. There's people who appreciate music,
Kendrick,
and then there's
J.
people
Cole.
who just use music as to dance, and that's
Of
it.
course.
You know, and so for the people who actually appreciate the art and are the ones who are going to stay.
So you're saying whenever you cross that certain line,
Yeah.
you're good for life.
Exactly. So you can either be, the flavor of the month artist, or you could just be an artist.
Okay.
And be completely different, not copying anything, and you're original. Guess what? People are still going to listen to it,
Are you an Eminem fan?
Yes, I'm an Eminem fan. I think it's kind of like you can either be in hip hop or you could be hip hop.
Like the culture?
Yes,
and
because
compared
to me,
music,
like Nas,
right.
you know who I respect the most on most artists? It's amazing how, I don't know if it's a marketing scheme, and if it is, it's brilliant to me. Because you ever have those artists, for example, Nas, Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, you're thirsty waiting for their next album, and they're just like, we're not thirsty for money, we might throw it out in 2 years, but when it come out, it's the best thing you ever heard, you've been waiting for it so long. Until those guys will always be relevant because we'll always be thirsty for that delivery that they have.
I don't think,
I would love to hear Andre 3000 album.
He's not going to do it.
No, he's not.
He's already said it.
Oh my God.
I would love it too.
But you feel me though?
I feel you though. I would love-
you
we
feel
all
that
would love
drive
it, yeah.
you feel right now just from saying that. If Andre 3000 put out an album,
So many people. I guarantee it would go platinum.
Like
Or
in hours.
Outkast, even Outkast, if they decide to come back.
I'd rather see the Outkast and Andre.
Yeah.
I would go for the
And
Outkast.
I'm saying like a
before
full
Andre.
Outkast album,
Yes.
not like the left.
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. It depends on which Outkast album we're talking about.
Not the Love Below.
Yes.
And
Now, if it's like the
Speaker
Southern
Box.
Playalistic, then yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lemon Eye. Yeah.
I think it's an artistic, tactical firing of certain things. Because even Elvis said, leave making them want more.
Yes.
In Encore, he would always just, boop, he's
Yep.
out. Once he's out, he's out.
Mm-hmm.
So if
That was a
Jay-Z
little
releases
bit-
an album, they know you're going to wait 2 years, 3 years for it because you know that they're going to come out with something more.
But I was gonna get with.
But it's not going to be.
But I was gonna
Good
get to
point.
the point though with one person though that you said, like you said, Jay-Z, Nas, yes, and but I do see not an expiration date, but the fan base changing. For example, Dr. Dre, we've been waiting for Detox forever,
That's not
and he
coming.
dropped in Compton. I love, by the way, that album.
I love Compton. A lot of people didn't like it. I loved it too.
I loved it.
Production was amazing.
But guess what?
I learned that
Sales
from him.
weren't, sales weren't crazy. People weren't talking about it.
Nah.
And it's kind of sad
Different
because
time.
exactly that's what I was going to get to. Now Jay-Z still like he'll drop 444 and still like very successful. Of course, he does his a little different. I think this is how he stays relevant. He goes to companies, whether the past Magna Carta, he did it with Samsung. This one he did with Sprint. He's like, these companies pay for this album, so you guys get the exclusive.
So he's
first.
already got his money.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Because I think he doesn't want to look like he's not the king anymore.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Because
Jay-Z, you little
So the name of the game basically is staying relevant. You think so too?
as you're saying, as in like the goats, like the
Like
top tier artists.
just, I mean, because if he's going to the companies like Samsung, the way Jay-Z is that more of to stay relevant, or is it more for album sales? So is it more for security of pay?
Actually, I think it's a little bit of both, right? So here's 2 million albums sold right then and there, just signing it to Sprint because they're going to give it to 2 million of their customers. So that's automatic.
So he's made his check.
Yeah, he's already got platinum.
Yeah.
Right then and there. So he's looking at it this way, and he's an artist that can do that, right? Like you couldn't tell, when like Lil Yachty to be like, hey, give me 2 million.
You're like, get the hell out of here, Yachty.
Exactly. But no, to your answer, I think it's a little bit of both. Okay, so one of my friends in Germany, right? He's one of the biggest artists in Germany. He's like the Jay-Z of Germany. And one thing I know about him is he hates the lifestyle he has to keep. So he has to buy the nicest cars and the newest clothes because he has an image that he has to keep up. But if you actually sat down and talked to him, he's one of the most normal, like
It's like us.
yeah, like he doesn't like that lifestyle, but he has to for his image.
That sucks.
Yeah. So
For the fan base, because that's what the fan base want to see.
yeah, because if you're the king of rap in Germany, you have to look
You
like
have to be the
of
king.
rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flashy lights.
Yeah.
Can't you lease a nice car?
No, that actually, I'm not,
A lot of rappers do that.
No,
Yo.
no. He does. I'm not going to tell you his deal. He's got a deal with Mercedes, and it's an amazing deal. Like, wish I had that deal. Yeah.
He probably
I'd
got
like
the
to have
plug
him
with
on the show,
Mercedes.
by the way.
Oh, I'm not even.
It's a German company.
Oh yeah, no. He does advertisement for them. Like I can't tell. He told
I'd
me
like to have him on the
it's
show
crazy.
if you could talk to him. I mean, you'd have to translate because I can't speak German.
No, he's American. No, he's not American. He's German, but he can speak English.
Oh yeah, let's get him on the show,
in
man.
Germany, a lot of
Yeah. I'm
people
gonna get him to fly all the way to Panama City. To
No, we could Skype.
Oh.
He'll be our Skype
Okay.
test. We'll try that. We
Well, I gotta
talked
talk
about
to him.
this.
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. back to the show. All right, so let's transition to something a little bit more serious. So you are actually a cancer survivor.
Yes.
All right. So how long did you have cancer? How long have you been
And what
off?
kind of cancer?
What
I had
kind?
Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay.
I had cancer in 2010. It's October. I
shit.
remember. At first, I thought it was a kidney infection at first.
Okay.
You know how guys is. I was on that stigmata. I'm not going to the doctor. And then in the
Right.
military, it was kind of like, if you go to sick call, you better really be sick.
Right.
So I was like, this is not that bad. It's just a kidney infection. I'll go get something for it. I'll be okay. The next morning, I went to call to PT. I get there. I'm like, I gotta go to sick call. I can't even stand up straight. I go there. They say they see this mass. They need to check it out. Let's make sure it's not cancer. They did the test, found out it was cancer. Wow. And that was the first time. That was right here. So I had like this little mass here. It was pushing my organs over. And I did chemo for that for 6 months, and I reacted well to it. It got rid of it right here. But then
6 months though?
Then after 30 days, I went for another checkup, and they found new hot spots here.
Oh,
So then I had to
So
go
it's
here.
spreading a little bit.
And then they went in my chest here, so I had it twice. They call it refractory lymphoma the second time you have it. And then I did a stem cell transplant. And that's when I went to DC and Walter Reed. The first time I did, I was in Landstuhl, Germany for my chemo. But it's really funny, like I always learn to live life, I always keep it serious, but I also learn to live life. Life is what you make out of it. I was never really down. I was really ignorant to what I had. I always tell people this. When they told me how I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, I didn't know it's a form of cancer. So I went back to post and it was like, Enis, you okay? You okay? And I was like, I'm okay. It's not cancer, it's just Hodgkin's lymphoma. High five, but they're gonna treat me with chemo for it just because that's what they treat it with. Yeah. And the whole time it's not registering to me that this is cancer.
Yeah.
And so I called my granny, I'm like, Granny, it's not cancer, it's Hodgkin's lymphoma. And the whole time she knows it's cancer. And I said, Granny, why you didn't tell me when I found out maybe like 3 weeks later, why you didn't tell me it was cancer? Right. She said, I thought you was in denial and I wasn't in Germany. I didn't want you to pass out and me not be there.
That's funny.
I swear to you, she told me that. She said, I thought you was in denial. I was like, so the whole time everybody knew I had cancer and they didn't correct me on it. And then
I would have been that street friend to tell you. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
So I laughed about it, and so I had a comedic fun about it. But on a serious note, it was kind of hard to ever feel down because I was in a military hospital, and I was 35 when I had cancer. And I got diagnosed, and these guys were in there, and they were 19, under 21, and these guys they was missing limbs. Like some of these guys would have every limb cut off, one leg cut off to here, one to the knee, arm here, and this right here is cut off here. It's just a nub, and you're thinking like no quality of life, you know, at that age. You know how embarrassing it's got to be to ask somebody to wipe your ass? I mean, you know, it's uncomfortable to be an old person and doing it, but I might be wrong for this, but I could see them being more more acceptable to it because they're old. They can't help it. But to be a young man, not even 21, and have to feel degraded like that, I couldn't imagine what that would feel like. So I never felt sorry for myself. I felt like if it was over for me, I had a good life. I always dwelled on everything that I have and everything that I enjoy versus what I didn't get to do. And I always kept it on a positive note. I was like, this guy didn't even get to live to see drinking age, and I'm 35. So on that note, it was hard to ever feel bad. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't have my bad days, but I had more good days than I did bad. So I even look back on the experience as a good thing.
Dude, I respect that positivity you just brought there. I
Seriously.
really, honestly, I'd probably be freaking out if I had cancer. But you know, that's great.
You gotta be happy when you're humble when you see things that are worse. You know, when they tell you this, literally people always tell you, and it's so cliche, it could always be worse. Literally, listen, it could always be worse.
Yeah. It could.
You could be that guy at that age with no limbs because it sounds so cliche.
Right, I get you.
It's like when you get in a breakup.
But when you see it, it don't sound cliche no more.
Yeah.
My brother, I seen it. I seen it, so I'm thinking to me, it's not just words. It could always be worse.
Yeah.
True. Well, I'm glad you're still here with us.
Man, I wouldn't want to be any other way. God he made me here twice. He got me through cancer twice. So it's a lot of people here that, to whom much is given, much is expected. So
now, did you ever use, because I've seen the research, did you ever use during your cancerous time? I know you're in the military, so obviously you don't want CID and other people go through that, but were you ever thinking about using medical marijuana, or did you use medical marijuana?
Oh, I did.
While you were in the
I
Army?
can tell you how it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
It worked. It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
It all came about when I was doing chemo and I was in pain all the time, constantly, because this thing was putting pressure on my nerves. So my whole midsection around, this is connected into your spinal cord. A lot of nerves is around here going to your spinal cord. So I'm just in pain all the time. They gave me enough medication to kill an elephant. Now, I don't know if you know about narcotics, but they gave me
opiates, right?
Oxycontin.
Opiate?
They gave me 15 milligram Oxycontins. That's a big dose of Oxycontins. Then they moved them on up to like 30 milligram Oxycontins.
Holy crap.
That wasn't killing my pain. So they would tell me to take that in the morning.
And were you getting a tolerance too from just taking this high dosage?
I wasn't never out of pain.
Ah, gotcha. So you always felt
They
the
would
pain.
give me other pills. They would give me Lortab 10s and Percocet 10s to take after I took the Oxycontin in the morning for breakthrough pain. I'm thinking like,
This is a crazy
is this gonna
fucking
kill me?
cocktail.
Think about it. I'm already scared already.
Yeah.
Then they would give me Dilaudid to take at night. So I'm taking 3 mainstream narcotics. You could Google these narcotics. These are not underhand narcotics.
Yeah, no,
You're
these-
talking about Lortab, Percocets, Dilaudid, and Oxycontin.
Yeah.
And I'm still in pain after taking 4 of those pills every day, more.
Actual
I'm still
drugs.
in pain.
Actual drugs.
You want me to tell you what took my pain away?
What's that?
Sitting in a hot tub of hot water and smoking
Smoking what?
cannabis.
Cannabis.
Smoking that
Smoking
weed?
cannabis
So
is what
actual
took my pain
drugs
away. So the
didn't
actual
do nothing
drugs
for
did
you.
not take my pain away.
But a plant,
Yes,
cannabis plant.
yes. Took my pain away. And then they
Wow.
started, so I realized that I
By the way,
could.
sorry to interrupt, but were you paranoid at the same time too, being in the military, knowing that you're going to get drug tested, knowing that your career, or are you thinking like, I have cancer, I don't even know if I'm live in the next
Yeah.
couple months?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't have those problems with the military because I think a lot of times you make problems for yourself, and I was a squared away soldier. So when I got sick, my unit, bless them, thank you 228 HHC, they looked out for me.
Nice.
Off the back, I was still active duty, but I didn't go to no formations or anything. They said, Demetrius, you just stay home, you get well. You go to your doctor's appointment. When you're not at your doctor's appointment, you at home. We'll call and check on you.
Right.
So I was like a civilian the whole time I was sick, but I was still active duty.
Wow.
Because first of all, I was on a profile, so my energy level was all-time low. You're drained for doing chemo, so they're not going to make me drive or come up there. It could be dangerous, especially with the medicine I'm under. So they would come and check on me. They was really good about that. I could say the military is different. The Army, I can't speak for the whole military. The Army and the guys that I was with is more than, it was a brotherhood. It's family.
Yeah.
And they really took care of me. They really did.
So now that you do not have cancer anymore, and that's marijuana helped out with the pain. Are you still an activist for marijuana? Do you still recommend it with other things?
I wouldn't say I'm an activist, but I can say from my experience, I believe that a lot of people, it has a lot of stigmata behind it because people base a lot of things on their opinions versus facts. And so I tell anybody, if you want to have this conversation with me, how do you want to have this conversation? Let's set the rules. Do you want to have this conversation on facts, or do you want to have it on opinions and emotions?
But do you think the time is changing now? Because I know what you're getting to, like back in the day, if you heard about smoking weed, brain cells get killed. Well, then we find the research, and it was actually them just pouring marijuana smoke on monkeys.
All that propaganda.
And they couldn't even, it was oxygen, and that's why their brain cells were going away. But what I'm getting to is nowadays, especially because of the internet, and just in America, I think it's like 60-some% are approved for legal marijuana, just recreational legal marijuana. So that's over half the percent of America.
Right.
So that's that 40% or whatever the exact statistic is. Do you think it's either, I think it's 2 camps. And I think both these camps need weed the most than any other people. So you first have the old people who, that's just what they've been told through propaganda, through their whole life, through reefer madness, through whatever it was during the 70s and the hippie generation, and especially Nixon doing all that stuff right there to make sure weed is the most evil thing ever.
Yeah.
Then, so you have that generation. Then you have the ignorant. The people, like I was saying before, who just stay in that ignorant bubble. They'll stay here because they've been just told marijuana is the gateway drug or marijuana is the worst thing ever. Yet they'll pick a cocktail up in a second.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
Kills
that
you.
is the real gateway drug. If
Yeah.
we really want to talk about it, that is the real. That and cigarettes to me are probably the biggest gateway drugs. Period.
It's so contradicting that people would get behind something that kills people on a mass scale,
Yeah.
but and it's backed up with facts, not opinions, and then be such opinionated about something that actually saved lives, and that's medicinal.
And to this day, the way you can die, I think Joe Rogan said this, the way you can really die from weed is if 10,000 pounds of weed just fell off an airplane and it hit you.
I like that.
Pretty good.
I like that.
Like when we're still wondering, and I'm telling you, those conservatives are hoping. They're waiting for that one person to die from weed. Just be like,
See, I told you. There he is.
And you know, hey, I'm gonna tell you.
he is.
I can tell you another thing too with the cannabis. When I started, I went to my doctor and I told him, I said I experienced smoking, and I said it makes me feel better than the pill. And this was in the military, active duty at a military
Oh, wow. So
hospital.
you're saying this to the military
and I'm telling
doctor?
to
Oh,
a
wow.
colonel, and he said no problem. He prescribed me Marinol.
Wow.
Which is it's an appeal. It's like a
But-
little
but
oily
it's-
pill, but
there's no THC in it, or it's like a 1% THC.
you get
thing,
that.
right?
I get the little loopy feeling. When I
Okay.
first took it, I remember I went into the defect to get something to eat, and when I walked in there, the feeling was like, oh, everybody knows I'm high. Get myself together.
You got the paranoia coming in.
And then I had to remind myself, I'm literally talking to myself in my brain, of course. Demetrius, you didn't smoke. You don't smell like weed.
Yeah.
You took a pill.
You took a pill.
Relax. Went up there and got my food and came back. Because one thing about chemo, if you can eat, you can have something to throw up and it absorb a lot of that poison. Like the chemo builds a lot of gastric juices, and that's what make you throw up. But if you could eat, it absorb a lot of that, and it makes it throwing up
Yeah.
not as bad,
Yeah.
and you might not throw up, but you still might get sick. Depends on the person. But if you can eat, you don't have an appetite. Believe it or not, your body's drained, but you're not. It's like it feels like exercise to eat. It was like a chore for me to eat, and so the Marinol made it easier for me to eat. When you take that Marinol pill, you better either be in the kitchen or on your way to the kitchen. And I was like, okay, and it made it easier for me. Even now they prescribe me Marinol. I have a hard time eating now, so they prescribe me Marinol now, legally.
What I was going to get to is this too. Is I was watching a really interesting documentary about people in Colorado, you know, at the legal spots who are having cancer and they're taking the THC tinctures or they're just taking as much THC as they can get inside of them, but they're using it because of their cancer, for example, and they're not going. They're skipping chemo completely. And literally saying if the THC, because we've seen the scientific research of THC literally attacking the cancer cells. Now, we don't know how powerful, as in it can completely eliminate it, because for example, there's this story of this kid who, and it's a sad story, who was on all the cocktail of pills that the doctors give, and they told the parents, hey, this kid is not going to make it by Christmas. And so as parents, they were like, well, we'll try anything. They gave him weed. And the cancer was gone, and it was this miracle thing. However, the cancer did come back again, and the doctors actually told him we can't watch you because if we report this, then your kid could be taken away. So but what else get to? Sorry to bring this point all back. So, for a person that was taking medical marijuana and also on chemo, was that a good combination? Do you think, or do you think that you could have laid off the chemo completely and have just done marijuana?
The question, the answer to that is, it's really not an answer, but it's kind of like this. If you tell me that chemo is going to cure this cancer, and you tell me that cannabis can cure this cancer, you know for sure that we don't kill cancer a lot with chemo, more than we killed with cannabis.
Right.
Even being proactive about cannabis,
Right.
my objective is to live.
But,
so I'm going to
right.
take the chemo.
But vice versa too. We've also seen evidence of chemo killing people.
Yes, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? As in again with weed.
No evidence. Except if, one falls off a plane like you said.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
I would have to see more. I would have to see
More
I would
research.
more research on saying how many people has cannabis saved versus chemo, and that's where I would
That's
that's what base my
Right.
choice, because the ultimate goal is to live.
Yeah.
And so when you're not going to gamble with your life, you're going to go for a sure shot. So if they tell me that, and what if weed saves more than chemo, but it hasn't been enough experience with it? So
Well, I think
you're still in that gray area.
And I think the people in Colorado,
It's hard to answer.
and I think the people in Colorado are going to be kind of the guinea pigs to this. But what kind of makes me mad overall, not about even the weed part on this part, what makes me mad is, like you were saying, you're given a cocktail of all these opiates to help your pain, whatever, but it really was to make you a zombie. And what makes me mad is we have research. Vice did such a great documentary of, so they were testing these people who had brain cancer. And they were like, how can we, take this away? So what they did is they genetically modified first the flu. And where the flu was actually just going to attack the cancer cells, and you don't have the flu. So they noticed that it had a 20% effective rate of being cancer free. So they're like, okay, well, this is a good idea. Let's go on with more of this. They then genetically modified HIV, where you don't get HIV, but the HIV literally attacks the cancer cell. It has over a 90% effective rate. In the documentary, you see this girl who they've tested it on. You see this girl, she's probably like 13, 14 years old. She gets the genetic modified HIV. 2 weeks in it, she gets in a coma. She's in a coma for 2 weeks. After the coma, she wakes back up. She's remission free in 6 weeks.
Wow.
But guess who's not signing for this, and guess who's not putting any money towards this?
The government.
Exactly. And why is that?
Because that's a simple answer.
Yep, exactly.
There's no money in the cure.
But there is money on making people the zombies.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
And that's what I was getting with the whole,
There's no money in the cure.
Yep.
And the thing is also that gets me is the worst thing I ever took was this pill called Finnegan. I swear, I don't even know
Finnegan?
why. Even
Sounds like
they
an
give it
Irish
for
law.
people
Oh,
when you're
let's go to
sick or
Finnegan's.
have like a stomach. It's to keep you from throwing up. They give it to you when you're
So
when
to
you
help
have
nausea?
yes. So
I've heard
you
of
can
that.
have a stomach virus and they give it to you. Now, it's good for people that has that and it works for people, but for me, oh my God, that was the worst thing. That's like a nightmare for me. If you gave me that, I would throw them away. Like, I hate those things. They gave me so much Finnegan and pumped me with so much Finnegan and keep me from throwing up. So where literally, I don't know if it was my reaction or how people react to it, but I was literally hallucinating. I seriously remember seeing somebody walk into my room
And that's
that
illegal.
wasn't even there. And I'm in the bed, like, just can't move.
Wow. And that's
I'm like,
illegal
That
drug.
was scary to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they gave me like 50 milligrams of Finnegan. I'm doing chemo to keep me from
And the
throwing
evil
up. And I'm
marijuana
like,
made you want to eat?
yeah.
and sleep and kill the
I was
cancer.
like, no, I don't want to do this.
Well, and it sucks that marijuana is still Schedule 1. It's still Schedule 1 to this day. That means there's no medical evidence whatsoever to be on Schedule 1. Yet we have so much research to combat that. And that's what a lot of the Democratic Party and some of the Republican Party are pushing to, at least can you schedule it to Schedule 2 so we can research it more without going through all these loopholes just to test it. And nope, just recently they signed it back to Schedule 1 again.
Do you think the world would be a better place if marijuana was legal across the nation?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be. I'm not saying that it would make people better. I'm just saying that
Make a lot of
the
lazy
world would be
people
better
listen to
because
around.
people, you got to let people be free to do what they want to do. That's what this country is for.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's not. I could see if it was something that was synthetically processed. You're telling me that this synthetically
And all that
processed drug is legal, but this natural herb that grows out of the ground is illegal. It doesn't even make sense. How can you look me in a straight face and say that? It doesn't make sense. I should tell you, if you have a garden growing in your backyard and you're growing some cabbage or some greens, whether it be some radishes, I can just walk up and you're wrong. That's illegal.
Yeah. And a lot of these cases too, if you were growing weed, they could see it as, oh, this is a drug operation, and they could take your house.
That's crazy.
This has happened to people, where you just start thinking
You know
why?
what plant is worse than weed? That's more deadly.
What's that?
Venus flytraps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet if they bite you in the toe, that would hurt.
Has a Venus flytrap ever, besides Little Shop of Horrors,
Has
has
Venus
it ever
flytrap
killed somebody?
It's killed a lot of flies.
I would hate to die from one. Like,
That would be the worst way to go.
Like,
Be a fly trap.
Hey, you know what else is really sad though? It's also so sad about the stigmata, and it's so crazy, like how, I mean, everybody's guilty of something. And me, this is what I was not too long ago. I was somewhere, and there's these people, and they were passing around a petition to sign for the legalization of marijuana.
Okay, yeah, I've seen a couple.
And they was just passing the thing around, and I said, man, you know, somebody asked us, like, you're gonna sign it? And I said, you know what? The only reason I'm not gonna sign it because everybody expects me to. And I was wondering, like, is that because I felt everybody was looking, knew that I was signed that? And I said, you know,
were you high at the time when you were doing this?
I don't know.
They all know.
It's really sad, you know, that you have to feel that way about something like that. And that's why I try to be careful and always try to be strong in my beliefs and not worry about what people think. Because if we all start living like that, we would never progress. Never. And so I kind of beat myself up about that. I said, you should have signed it. Forget what people think.
Yeah.
But you know, at that time, I'm only human. I was weak. I was like, man, I don't want these people. And then I was the only black guy around there. I was like, yes!
A lot of shit
all
was
these
going
white
on.
people are expecting me to sign it. I was like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction today. I'm not signing it.
Well, I said this in a previous podcast, but I honestly believe that every drug should be decriminalized. Every single one. And putting the resources of putting people in prison, switching that, and putting into education and rehabilitation.
Great point.
And Portugal did it, and since they've done it, over 50% of drug use has dropped.
You know what? I think also this would be a genius idea. Just ride with me for a second.
Okay, let's listen.
Look at every country. If you want a country and specializing with a low crime rate and you're trying to get your crime rate done, why don't we go and get advice from that country that has low crime rate? And say, for instance, we want to deal with a low pollution rate. And this country over here on this side has a low pollution rate. Let's go converse with them and see how they got it that way. If we need to start conversing and sharing with each other.
But they've tried though.
Yeah.
You know, Bernie Sanders, a lot of his opinions are coming
tried,
from you know, a lot of European countries. And
Bernie Sanders is crazy because he's talking with sense. You know what they say? When you talk with sense, you're crazy.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
He's a madman.
I'll tell you right now.
It's too reasonable for a sane man to think like that.
Well, I'll tell you why they don't. Because we're supposed to know everything. We're the best country in the world, and we know everything. We're scared to learn something new, and that's the problem with us.
What we know is war.
Of course.
That's what we know.
It's money and
We're
war.
a bunch of bullies, yeah.
Exactly.
It's
in
money
most
and war.
countries, when they tell you if you ever get invaded by a country, who do you think it is? All the countries, I think it's like 97% say America. There's a reason
That's
why.
true. Because we're some bullies.
Yeah.
It's money and war. And you ever notice that when you get into war and you get to realizing where we're getting the supplies from, it's always the good old buddy system. It's always like, this is the president's Secretary of State, Donald Rumsfeld, whose company is KBR, Kilo Brown and Roy, who happens to be everywhere in Iraq.
Or Halliburton.
Do you know
that cleans up war?
Do you know that in Iraq, the person mopping the floor is getting $80,000 at the least? That's the least amount. That's the minimum amount. He's getting $80,000, and most of those workers that do laundry and stuff is making 120 grand. They're not even leaving the fob. You as a soldier, you barely come back with 30 grand.
Yeah. And even,
that's insane.
And even AFIs, like my buddies who worked.
So you're risking your life.
Yeah, my buddies who worked at Burger King in Iraq were making $60,000. Yeah.
The average soldier barely comes back. I didn't say come back with 30. Barely, because you got to realize while you're in Iraq, your bills don't stop. If you got a family, you still, your wifey or whoever may be your significant other is living off of that.
Do they have a CDC?
You got kids.
No, because there's no kids.
Okay.
No, but in everywhere else though, yeah, like in Germany.
Okay.
But they make, I think, probably the same.
Oh.
Yeah. It's as soon as you get to a combat zone. But he's right. Like all the people, like even the people who are taking the truck drivers, they're going over there to Kuwait afterwards on jet skis.
These
and
people
Hummers.
do not leave the FOB.
Yeah.
The FOB is the forward operating base.
Yeah.
They do not leave base.
Yeah.
These people stay in the safe zone.
You made
all
a
the
pretty
time.
good point that who's really disrespecting America? Because of that. Is it Colin Kaepernick?
I'll give you a better one than that. Do you know when the government shut down, I was deployed in the middle of Iraq?
Oh, so when they're doing
I didn't get paid. I couldn't just say, you know what, I didn't get paid.
See, I didn't even know this
So
part.
I'm just
Holy
going to
shit.
stop working today.
Wow.
No, I still had to go on patrol and go on missions and stuff. Now
sign
they
that
paid
I was about to say, did they at least do
paid
that?
us. But guess what? The sad thing is Congress got paid. Congress got paid. We were soldiers, boots on ground in Iraq. Smell of Iraq,
speechless with
we did
this.
not get paid.
Wow.
So this is what I'm getting to.
We didn't get paid.
I think this is all modern day slavery. Honestly, from the businessmen.
I mean, it makes perfect sense why you would say that. That's wow. Wow.
That's powerful. That speaks volume right there. And you're mad at this man for kneeling on the ground. That's another thing is you got Congress up there. A lot of these things are so logical, and I don't understand, and it gets me to rant, and I think I get upset about it because it's so simple and it makes sense that I don't understand how people don't see it. How can you have some power? Okay, okay, let me calm down.
Hey,
get crazy.
This might be the best part of the show right now.
If you get absolute, what's the saying? How's it go? If your absolute power corrupts absolutely correct. That's how it goes. So in Congress, once you're elected to Congress, you don't have a term. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So how the fuck is we supposed to change if we keep the same motherfuckers in there?
Yep.
Who has absolute power?
Oh, yeah.
And we're expecting change
During election season, I was looking at
how
all the
are we
people
gonna
in there.
change?
All the people in there during election season, I saw like 60 to like 90 years old still up in there. I was like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
Go home and retire and die.
The world is changing.
Yeah.
But these people are not changing. Even Einstein said that the greatest travesty is not. It would be somebody who couldn't. I don't know exactly verbatim what he said, but it's kind of like he was saying basically, if you can't adapt and change, that's the worst.
Well,
A person that can't adapt and change, even Einstein said that back then. If you don't have the ability to adapt and change, you will not progress. Right. Einstein said that, so he's the smartest man, and we can't take that from him.
Well, that's why FDR, I thought to me, was very revolutionary on the fact he was like, because he kept getting elected, and he's like, nah, I can't have this much power this entire time.
Very smart dude.
And I, like you said, I wish they did that to Congress. I think we would actually agree if they're like,
yeah, we gotta have
this is how
limits.
many years you get. You get 8 years, just like the president. You
Yeah.
get 8 years.
Why don't they do it like that? That doesn't make
Oh,
any
no, it
sense.
makes sense.
Because
Business.
they have to vote it in.
Yeah. They have to vote it in.
When they do leave, they still get paid forever. Their money never stop coming.
And it's not like, and the funny part is, I mean, they're making a lot of money, as in, I'm saying their job, but what they're really making money is all the business,
All
deals
the
that
little
they're doing.
side stuff.
Yeah.
That's
That's the real money.
Those
what you call-
parties.
The lobbyists.
Those lobbyists.
Give me the definition of a fucking lobbyist. You don't go to college to be a lobbyist.
Nope.
You just show up and be like, I'm gonna lobby for some shit, and this is my cousin, Uncle Daddy used to do this, so we're gonna bring you in. So you with us now. There's no way.
really-
How do you get in? You know somebody that knows somebody to get in.
You
So
don't
basically,
really-
you're breaking these little side deals off.
Yeah, and what was sticking to the people is electing a billionaire to solve all our problems.
Oh, God.
Anyways,
Wow.
Well, it's like, then the guy who he nominated for the Department of Health is the guy who works in the pharmaceutical company.
yeah, you brought that up. Yeah.
What the fuck? It's so, like you were saying, it's just so fucking obvious. But people either live in their ignorance or they just are like, man, we can't do anything.
Don't know, don't show, don't care.
And you know, it's crazy. It's also something else that's very contradicting. Just like with these pills and stuff we was talking about earlier, the company Pfizer, German-based company,
Pfizer,
but they do not. They make these narcotics and stuff. They do not. It's illegal for doctors to give that out in Germany.
Yeah.
You do not. When you go to Germany and get your wisdom tooth pulled out at the dentist in America, what they give you when you leave? Narcotics.
Yeah.
There, ibuprofen, baby.
Yeah.
Ain't no narcotics
The
out of there.
strongest amount of ibuprofen.
Yeah, it's like they give you like ibuprofen 1,000 or something. It ain't gonna be. It ain't. My German friend got their tooth pulled on the economy, and it came back. I was like, whoa, what they give
Well,
you?
weed's legal there, isn't it?
Ibuprofen.
Oh, it's not?
No, not even. They're slowly. They just put it in medical marijuana. They just did.
Okay.
And they also make it where if you're not a citizen of Amsterdam, that you
No,
can't
not
just
anymore.
come there and smoke weed no more recreational.
Well,
They changed it.
So no, it's okay. So yes and no. Amsterdam is different.
Okay.
Amsterdam, you can go all day and smoke because that's.
I've been to Amsterdam.
Oh.
Well, I was back when it was just easy, the era I was there.
Yeah.
But I heard they was changing it up.
No, so Amsterdam is one of my favorite cities. I was just there in May, and so that is not going to change because there's too much money going over there.
That's what I was thinking.
However, as in Holland, yes. So it depends on the cities. There's some cities again that will, but most of the cities now in Holland, because they have almost like a Trump type of conservative now over there. They have now made it where you have to be a Dutch resident to purchase marijuana. But what's happening because of that is now there is crime.
Oh.
Because now gang members are like, getting, selling the weed behind closed doors, and people are having their turf wars.
Does it sound like it's turning into America a little bit?
And weed is not even legal in Holland. It's decriminalized. So when you're in Amsterdam, how they get their weed, because they can't just get it from growers. I mean, they do, but I'm saying they can't legally get it from growers.
Wow.
So a grower has to bring his bag secretly, drop it off, and then they pay him under the table. Now, everybody knows about this. However, now because of this conservative government that they're starting to have, now they're starting to raid all of these THC places that are growing weed and putting these people in prison. Dang. So it's like
it's turned into America a little bit.
Well, Amsterdam's looking at, or Holland, excuse me, is looking at America of how they're doing their system, as in the states that are legal. Because they're like, hey, you have this right here. Awesome. That I wish we could have that, because again, it is decriminalized. It's not legal.
They're looking at the positive. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think it's gonna get there. I mean, I think once America finally just fully legalizes it, then I think countries are gonna start following, because they're gonna see the money, they're gonna see the revenue. But until then, I don't know. But the biggest reasons why it's not is because, like we've talked about, it's corporations.
Yep.
It's all
about that
private
money.
prisons.
About that taxes and that money.
Everything.
If they could have taxed it a long time ago, I'm telling you, and these people would have had it legal, it would have been legal. It's all about money. You put that money, that dollar figure out there, you'll be amazed what changes.
Absolutely.
You'll be amazed what changes. If somebody can make money off of it legally, and it's a good old boy system, it's going to change. And it's really sad. You probably got some backsliders just making money off of it, but sitting here talking about no. You see that a lot too up there. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't know that was part of my company. Like, you don't know what the fuck you own?
Right.
Like, convince me this shit. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Like,
you have people that come on here, for example, we had an incident where a politician did an interview or did something for some kind of, they do these, when they go on these campaign things, they speak at these places for money, for donations from their donors. This stupid motherfucker went and did a speech for a white supremacist group. They'd be like, oh, I didn't know the group was related to white supremacists. It said this and that. And she doesn't want to be held accountable, And I'm thinking, you're accountable for that shit. You're not on no small platform. You're on a major platform. You know who the fuck you talking to.
Right.
That's like saying you don't know what you own.
Well, but a lot of Congress don't even read their bills, though.
Just like, let me go do this shit. I'm getting a check.
Well, yeah, exactly. Or someone be like, hey, you need to vote for this, so it helps our organization.
Sure, where do I sign?
They're not going to read fucking, they're idiots. So they're not going to read, a lot of them are. So they're not going to read fucking hundreds of pages of what's in there. They're just going to be like, let me make my money.
Yeah.
Boom.
I would never take money from white supremacists.
And then it still comes down to the responsibility thing. Everybody's cool because nobody's good. This is a generation, and this is the times where responsibility should be erased out of the dictionary. Nobody wants to take responsibility. You never hear nobody walk up and be like, oh, yes, okay, I made a mistake. I did that. You don't hear that no more, okay?
Says, I made a mistake.
Except Louis C.K.
So what they do,
He's a great guy for that.
it's easy to live your life like that when you cannot be held accountable for it, because you know what you do? You build a system of fall guys. So no matter how high you're up, you can be like, well, I'm not responsible for that because usually my secretary is responsible for briefing this.
No.
Oh, so-and-so is responsible for this.
Scapegoats.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to do it? You're the brand.
Well, but
You're the brand for this vessel that we're going in. So you are fully responsible.
Well, before we end this pod, what about her emails?
Yes.
Of course. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching Intellectual Controverse. This is Demetrius Enis, right? That's how you say your last name. Do you want to plug any of your stuff?
My name's Demetrius Enis. You can reach me on Demetrius on Facebook. I'm not as popular as these guys.
Hey, if you are in Panama City and you want a good conversation and some humor, man, this guy right there, if you see him in public, just say what's up to him. I'm sure he'll talk to you.
Hey, if you need some car work done, especially all the collision repair, you need to get at me. Me and my boy Jay Spray Customs, we fix them all day.
Get at him, man. Okay, and now this podcast is now on iTunes and Google Play. So if you're looking for this podcast on other outlets besides Facebook and YouTube, holler at us, man. We got full audio.
Good, my brother.
Thank you for coming, brother.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely great combo, bro.
All right.
Great combo.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.